leading his team to a 3-1 series lead over the one-seeded Cavs. He and the Pacers now have a chance to close it out tonight, move on to the Eastern Conference Finals for the second straight season. Meanwhile, Anthony Edwards and the Wolves have the Warriors on the brink of elimination after his 30-point performance in Game 4, up 3-1. The Wolves can also move on to their second consecutive conference championship if they close it out Thursday. Windy, I'm coming to you, my friend. Is Tyrese Haliburton or Anthony Edwards more likely to get their first ring?
Well, this is not a commentary on the two players. It's a commentary on the pathway, all right? Because a couple of weeks ago, I would have thought the Pacers would have had one of the toughest pathways to win the championship of any team in the league because they were going to have to play the Cavs without home court advantage. And then I'll admit I made the assumption that the Celtics were going to win, and then they were going to have to take the Celtics out, and then they potentially have to face the winner of the West. Whoever wins the West is going to come through the gauntlet. Maybe it is Ann Edwards. So I thought it was going to be, but I would have probably said a different answer. But now I see the way the Pacers have things shaping up. They're playing the best out of all the teams in the East, and that's all due respect to the Knicks. They're playing better than everybody. So I look at Haliburton and I say he might be on a championship team that has a pathway that's opening up. They're outplaying the Cavs first off, but the Cavs have also had injury issues, and now you're looking at either a Knicks team that is going to have a much shorter bench than the Pacers, or you're looking at a Celtics team that makes a miraculous comeback probably without Jason Tatum that will have been exhausted. So just based on their circumstances, I'm going with Haliburton.
I'm going with Ant-Man, Wendy. I got to go with Ant-Man on this. And what I see in these playoffs as I watch Minnesota play, I saw the evolution of Ant-Man in the first round with the double teams and playing the right way, getting in the paint, and people come, you make the right move, you make the right play. And in the second round, I see the evolution of Julius Randle. And I think Ant-Man has really unlocked Julius Randle to be his best version. So if I'm looking at this team, I'm saying I got to go with Ant-Man. And also, 6 of the last 7 teams that have played in the championship have been teams that have beat Jimmy Butler and the team that he has been on. I have been on the other side of that. So I have cried and wept as those teams have won the championship. So I think if Minnesota is able to get this done, I feel like they have the opportunity, and they have all the pieces. They have Jaden McDaniels. They have, Randall. They have Ant-Man. And also Rudy Gobert. We have to give him his flowers because he was the guy who people made so much fun of last year when Luka made that shot. This year in the LA series, he was solid. On the switches, he was solid. He beat him up on the glass when he had opportunity to play in the game and got offensive rebounds and extra possessions. So I just think right now this team is firing on all cylinders.
A part of me wants to agree with you and say Ant-Man just because of the ferocity he plays with and the style in which he plays. The Western Conference is so hard. That would be the only thing that would probably hinder me from going with Ant-Man because of how good OKC is. And I think, look, the Knicks are really good too. I just think that the pathway for Haliburton, even though both teams, if they're able to get to the Eastern Conference and Western Conference Finals, will be difficult. I just think being in the Eastern Conference probably opens the opportunity up more for him as opposed to Ant-Man in the Western Conference. But look, no doubt it's going to be challenging for both. But I would probably have to give the slight edge to Tyrese just because of the way he plays and probably in the Eastern Conference.
Fair enough. I want to stay in the East, guys. We haven't talked about Philly because the Sixers have been one of the most disappointing teams this season, due in large part, obviously, to injuries. To Joel Embiid, President of Basketball Operations Daryl Morey spoke on his potential return, saying this, quote, "If Joel comes back, it's going to be at a very high level. I actually don't see a scenario where he's fading. I understand that wasn't his best year. My point is different, though. My point is I see him playing at a high level, and that's so important to him that he will either get himself there or not. That's my feeling. I think he views himself correctly as an MVP level guy." Jay, Will, are you buying these numbers?
Well, nobody questions whether Joel Embiid can come back at a high level. Yeah. I mean, 2-time scoring champ, MVP, of course he's going to come back at a high level. Can he sustain the high level is the main point that Daryl Morey did not confront in that news thing that he just said, in that quote. So, look, I go to see guys playing 50% of his regular season games. Just think about that, 50% of his regular season games. He's missed 400 regular season games.
My goodness.
So, Brian, nobody questions the talent level of Joel Embiid. We always talk about Jokic, talk about maybe being the best player in the game. If Joel Embiid were healthy, I think he would be better than Jokic. Okay?
Yes, I agree.
But it's always about if Joel Embiid were healthy. That's it. That's what this comes down to. Sustaining an MVP level play and remaining uninjured is the issue that you have with the statement.
Yeah, with Joel Embiid, it's never about what he does on the basketball court. It's what he does off the basketball court. At this stage of the game, when you get to the NBA, it is a lifestyle. It is a 24/7, 7 days a week job. And what Joel Embiid has to understand is everybody is watching you. You're the best player on the team, which whether you want it to be or not, that makes you some sort of a leader. And you have to have habits. And this is all about Joel Embiid's habits. What is he doing in the summer? Is he getting himself in the best shape as possible? Is he taking the time out to get the proper rest? Is he working himself to get in great shape to be able to sustain it throughout a regular season? We're not questioning his ability. We know what he can do, and we know how he views himself. But what I will say is MVP means nothing because you did that in 2022, and you got beat by the Celtics in the second round by 50. And guess what? They put you in a pick and roll, and Jason Tatum abused you every single time. And after the game, you went to the media and said, we need help. So all those things have nothing to do with who you are as a basketball player and your talent. That has to do with your habits and just overall what you want out of this. Do you just want to be a guy who's a great player and made a lot of money, or do you want to be a champion? If you want to be a champion, you got to take it to the next level and have championship habits. And that's what it is for Joel Embiid, championship habits. And you also got to listen. You don't listen to nobody, man. That's all part of your problem.
Passed by two teams. They lost the pick altogether. The first team comes up. The balls come up. It's Dallas. Oh, boy. They passed them. The second team comes up. It's the Spurs. Oh, boy. They passed them. The Sixers representative is like, oh, my God, we just lost our pick. And then their number comes up, and they wake up with the third pick. In 2 minutes, they went from having no pick to the third pick. Amazing series of events for the 76ers. We're talking about the other teams. The Sixers had an equal set of opportunities. We didn't get to see that, but that's what happened. The most important thing about this, and I'm not going to parse it too much because it was a podcast and that happens, what's this if Joel comes back? If Joel comes back.
Way to be good at your job and focus on the if.
I don't like that, but I'm not going to overreact because it was a podcast, but I don't like the if part of it. I would like when. I want to hear when from Joel and the Sixers.
Yeah, Windy, why is that? Why do you think he said it that way?
I don't know. Like I said, it's a podcast. It's a long conversation. I'm not going to overreact to it, but I just don't like that word. That's all I'm going to say.
Let's get it. UD, the Thunder Nuggets series all tied up after another performance from Jokic, who shot 7 of 22 in Game 4. How much criticism does he deserve?
None at all. He got you through the Clippers series. Yes, he's missed some chippies, but overall in this series, the man is averaging 26, 15, and 5. If you move the goalpost back for him, then yes, you can have a problem with him. But 26, 15, and 5 for most guys is a hell of a series. You talk about Chet Hartenstein, Jay Will, Lou Dort, Wiggins, all these guys maxing up. They're shrinking their elbows. They're making it tough for the Joker, but he is still productive.
All right, fair enough, guys. Wild 24 hours in the NBA. Just take a look at just a few of the things that happen here. Windy, I'll start with you. Which headline will have the biggest impact on the association that you love so dearly?
I'm sorry to say the Jason Tatum injury, if it indeed is catastrophic, because not only does it massively affect this season, but it massively affects the Celtics going forward. I don't like talking about this. It's uncomfortable. It's not fun. I wish I wasn't. The Celtics have a $500 million payroll next year. I don't see how they can keep that kind of team together if Jason Tatum is not going to be a major part of it. I hate saying that, but it's a big story. What do you want me to say?
Wendy, I agree with you, everything that you said. I do have to say this, though. It is Jason Tatum was reaching his peak. And everybody's going to talk about what he was offensively. Obviously, I think he could have had a pathway towards maybe dropping 50 points in that game in the last 3 minutes. But who he was defensively and who he was as a playmaker is one of the most underrated things about him and his utility on the court. It should be spoken more about.
Yes.
UD.
The best rebounder.
Yes.
I mean, people don't know that. He's their best rebounder. And when you talk about him shooting a lot of threes, there has to be a physical part of rebounding. That is a physical mindset. So it sucks to see him go down. I wish him the best.
Is that the headline you think that's going to have the biggest impact?
Yeah. Is that the headline?
Yeah, because a lot happened. We had the Giannis thing, we had that, we had Dallas getting.
I hate to have that bad karma, but yes, that is the one that will get the most impact, yes, in the wrong way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and UD, you dealt with an injury that devastated your career, Jay, you as well. So you guys know that, like, you know, hopefully he can recover, but it hit me in the gut. Hit me in the gut.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that'll do it for us, guys. It's been a lot of fun. I will be back here tomorrow. I'm on fire. It's NBA,